Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video. This is slightly late but intentional. I want to talk about Dreams in PlayStation VR. Now this came out a couple weeks ago, this patch, to be able to make Dreams work in VR, on PlayStation VR. And when it first happened, there was a huge wave of people talking about all the cool new experiences that you can do. And I thought, okay, I want to just wait. I want to give this a little time to bake in and see, after the initial blush of excitement, is there still good stuff to check out today? And there is. But at first, when I heard that Dreams was going to get PlayStation VR support at all, I dismissed it. I thought, there's no way. That is not going to work. It's going to be either full of vomit-inducing crazy experiences, which luckily Media Molecule has a fix for, or a workaround for, which I'll go into. Or you're just going to end up with junk experiences that are not really all that good. Well, color me wrong. This is not only a really good VR experience, but there's some amazing stuff that nobody's even done before. And I wanted to very briefly touch on not the usual stuff. Everybody talks about the various racing games that come on the Dreams sort of high roster. Everything is rated by thumb ups and stuff. And there are a lot of titles that people keep talking about. But I want to talk about some of the lesser known stuff that I'm playing, because this thing is awesome. And maybe I'll do a follow-up video months down the road, because I have a feeling the makers of all of these different Dreams are probably now, after the initial just converting what they had existing into a VR landscape, there's probably people actually now crafting games with VR in mind, which will probably just knock our socks off, and I'll talk about them again later. But for now, let me show you some of the Dreams that I played and recommend. So let's start off showing you what I actually played the very first time I fired up Dreams. I noticed that somebody had made a Little Big Planet recreation. I don't know if this is Media Molecule themselves, because they own the Little Big Planet license, or somebody just doing a fan translation. But I jumped into this, had a ball, and I was like, oh, okay, this looks really good and is quite a cool experience. And later on, I actually did, after the initial jumping around platformy thing, I then, like in Little Big Planet itself, you can jump on a skateboard and go down a hill and do a little race. That existed. And I thought, okay, how are they going to stop people's stomachs from going through the roof? You know, like, what's going to stop this from being vomit-inducing? And I got on the skateboard, and lo and behold, I rolled down the hill in a very fast... if you've got motion sickness problem, you're going to have a problem with this experience. It was wide open. Yeah, go for it. If you want to have roller coaster experiences, if you want to have jumping off things and flying through the air, there's nothing in here to stop that. At least not entirely. So the way Media Molecule gets around anything vomit-inducing is, if something drops to a certain low frame rate, it'll kick into cinema mode. And somebody's done another thing in cinema mode, quite a few experiences, but I wanted to show it here. You see how there's like a letterbox thing and somebody's recreated the opening of Star Wars here? That's what cinema mode is. It's genuinely like you're looking through a letterbox at 3D characters doing their thing. You can lean forward and kind of see around, but if the game drops below a certain frame rate, they're going to boot you out of the full VR experience and make it this cinema mode, and that's the way they stop you from getting too ill. I really like that. What staggers my mind is there's a lot of intellectual property stuff in Dreams that is being allowed to just run rampant. Here's another Star Wars thing where you're flying an X-Wing, and it's pretty good. I mean, I'm sure Star Wars Squadrons that comes out in October is going to knock the socks off this, but for something just handmade and a free experience that comes bundled in with the Dreams package, yeah, sure, you got to lay down some cash for Dreams itself, but once you're in, you have a universe full of possibilities, and there's a lot of stuff in there that is copyright material that thus far hasn't been taken down. I mean, I've seen Nintendo stuff as well. I'm sure that's just a matter of time till that all gets booted out of there, but what a crazy world. Like, you can just go ahead and fly an X-Wing now, something I've been waiting for since since Battlefront 2015. I didn't say I would cover stuff that other people have, but this one kind of deserves a special mention. There's a level where you can fly an air car like you're going over the Blade Runner city. It's really phenomenal. I mean, everybody's just losing their stuff over this particular level, and it's a good sign of what is possible. The other thing that's cool, you can actually leave the city. Like when I tried this out, I thought, okay, I'm going to go to the edges of the city, or up or down, and see where the limits are, thinking I'd hit an invisible wall. I never did. I was allowed to just continue on for miles and miles and miles. That was pretty impressive. Secondly, somebody then kind of built on that idea, and they created a Blade Runner 2049 experience. All you do, at least initially, is follow another guy in another air car over parts of the city, but the voice acting is pretty decent, and it is a work in progress. And it's a sign of, like, if you want, you can do some pretty stellar stuff in this toolkit. And I just love it. I'm very, very glad that that kind of thing exists.
Now, would you look at those underground transit systems?
Another sci-fi classic recreation that really is just stellar is somebody's taken the ending to Close Encounters of the Third Kind and put that in Dreams. And it's the full legit experience. Like, it's the soundtrack. Somebody's sort of extracted the end dialogue and music from the movie and put it into Dreams so that you can walk around on the platform. You actually, in a very cool moment, you get an idea of the scale. You see the mothership floating over your head, just like in the film. You're kind of in awe, you look up, you look around, it slowly descends in front of you, then it's there. They've recreated kind of that warbling light effect that was in the original film. Then somebody starts to play, just like, as again, they've just taken the soundtrack, and so you're listening to the dialogue and all the actors doing their bits. They do the little tones, the mothership replies back, then it, does like in the film. It's a really cool experience, and it was something I didn't even think of, but when I saw that, I clicked on it. I thought, somebody's recreated the end of Close Encounters? Let me check this out. And it really knocked my socks off. It's kind of a basic idea, but it shows, like, there are things that you'll be able to do in Dreams or just experience as an audience member that are incredible. There's even a couple of Tron experiences that are pretty darn cool. Now, the first one I saw was the light cycle racing, and I thought, oh yeah, that would be amazing to do the light cycle scene in VR, but it's, I think it's just a work in progress. You're really just racing around a Tron landscape, so it's not there yet, but the promise is there, and it looks amazing. The other one is this, now it's not specifically Tron named, but it is this, I can't even describe it any better. You are a little, like a program running around in a platform world, and you have this ability to unlock things, and you make platforms move around forward and backward, and you want to progress your little character through the maze. But it's a really, really good experience, and I'm just like, wow, I had not even thought of this. It's a good sign for me of things to come. There's also some really cool recreations of indie titles, like somebody's recreated Super Stardust, where you're floating over the planet and you're shooting the asteroids as they come in. That's really, really cool. There's also another one that's kind of Race the Sun, and it works. It's really fast too. Again, this is something I didn't think would be possible. I figured, oh yeah, there's going to be a cap on how much speed you can get out of these games, but no, it works really well. And I'm running on a first generation PlayStation 4 here. Like, this is not on a Pro or anything like that. You really get some good recreations of experiences on original hardware. And I've been talking a bit of Space Invaders recently, so somebody has recreated that as well. I have a sneaky suspicion this is actually one of the original Dreams creations, because it's very authentic, but then just ported over. Like, there's not much... I tried looking around. It's not like you can look over your shoulder and see the rest of the arcade or anything. It is strictly the Space Invaders game in front of you. Similarly, somebody's made a rudimentary Battlezone type experience. Now, it's a bit clunky and chunky, and it doesn't work that well. If you want to do Battlezone in VR, I recommend you just get the Battlezone title that's available for PS4, because in there you've got a recreation of the Battlezone experience. But hey, hats off to the developers or the dream makers for at least trying. And I'm just going to end off with the last dream that I really love the promise of. It looks initially like, much like that Space Invaders game, you're just playing an arcade machine, and it's actually, for something originally created, it's really good as an arcade experience. But then it knocked my socks off when I looked back and I discovered, oh, you can pull yourself away from this and walk around in the arcade. That's amazing! Oh my god! Now, the other machines aren't exactly things you can walk up to and play. Whoever is making a dream experience, please, please recreate an arcade with different types of games in it so that I can walk up and play. I'll stop this one here because there is actually a bit of a surprise twist to this particular dream, so... but, you know, this is just one little flavor of the kind of stuff that's out there in Dreams, and it's amazing the amount of things that are possible in it. I was very much a big skeptic. I was not thinking this was ever going to work, but with that cinema mode kicking you out if the frame rate gets too bad, it's a nice little area of like a line of defense so that you won't ever really get too vomit-inducing. But my Little Big Planet experience showed me, no, you can drop down a cliff, you can slide along a big loop, and they're not going to stop that from happening. Also, the intellectual property stuff is just sitting there for anybody to go ahead and exploit, which is, I don't know, maybe because they're not charging money, it's okay, I don't know. But regardless, the things that you can do in Dreams and experience are phenomenal. I highly recommend it. My one small concern is that now that the initial wave of excitement has kind of passed, I haven't seen a lot of really awesomely new stuff in Dreams yet, but maybe that's just a matter of time. It will show up. I'm looking forward to more things like this, so maybe in another 6 months we'll have some really, really cool stuff we can talk about further. But until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.